My name is Iris. Originally I come from Sarajevo, which is in Bosnia. During the war, there was quite a big shortage of food. We didn't really have any produce, we didn't have any bread, and it was quite rare to to have a normal meal. So often, even if you weren't hungry, you were often craving something that you didn't really have access to. One of the biggest supplies that we often got was rice. So you'd have rice porridge for breakfast, and have like something along the lines of fried rice for lunch and cooked rice for dinner. And so every meal was very similar. But we had a neighbor who had this like a big supply of stock that came from Germany, and it was really delicious stock. And so we would put the stock in the rice, and at night time, when the lights were out, we would all sit together in the dark and eat the rice that had the stock inside it, and it tasted a bit like rissoles. And so we would pretend that there were these delicious rissoles. Every one of my friends would bring a cookbook from home and would choose a meal that they felt like eating on that day, and we would put the cookbook in the middle of us and sit around the cookbook and take turns at tasting the meal and describing what it tasted like to us. So someone might say, oh, I really like the rosemary flavour, or I really like the lemony chicken, or I like how salty and crispy the potatoes are. But we were just pretending to eat the meal. Also, NATO, which is an organisation that provided a lot of supplies during the war, gave us sometimes these lunch packs that they would drop from helicopters into these food centres, and inside it you'd have little packaging of jelly and also packets of peanut butter. And for us kids in Sarajevo, we had never tried peanut butter or jelly. After a few years of being in this situation, a lot of the kids started to get really sick from malnutrition and from not getting enough food, so things started to get quite serious. We felt pretty safe when we landed at the airport in Sydney, that even though we couldn't speak English. So my first memory of food in Australia is when I had just started school. I had very, very little English, and I saw somebody eating what to me looked like a pastry filled with chocolate sauce. And I thought, that looks amazing, I have to get one of those. Even though I was quite embarrassed because I didn't really know how to speak English, I walked up to the person because I couldn't resist, and I said, "What this called?" And they looked at me and they said, "Oh, it's a meat pie." And I was like, "Meat pie?" And they were like, "Yeah, meat pie." I was like, "Okay." So I went off to the canteen trying to remember it in my head. So I was just revising it, going meat pie, meat pie, meat pie, meat pie, meat pie, meat pie, all the way to the canteen. And I waited in line and, repeated it, meat pie, meat pie, meat pie. Finally got to the counter and I said to the lady, "1 meat pie, please." And she was like, "Yep, there you go." So she gives me the meat pie, and I took the meat pie, and then she said, "Do you want some tomato sauce?" And I was like, "Tomato sauce with chocolate?" This is what I was thinking. I said, "No, thank you." And I took my meat pie thinking, keep your tomato sauce away from my chocolate sauce pastry. And I sat down on a bench on my own, and I opened the meat pie expecting it to be chocolate sauce. And I was, maybe pleasantly surprised. So after a while, I became very interested in where food comes from, and I did a lot of research on farming, and I kind of didn't really agree with a lot of the farming sort of strategies, and so I stopped eating meat and became vegetarian. What I realised was that this was a choice that I was able to make in a country like Australia, because it was definitely not a choice that I would have had in Bosnia, because food is so scarce, so you just eat whatever you can get your hands on. But I can make that choice now. However, I still have a little bit of a weakness, and every now and then I get this really big craving to have a meat pie.